It started with 3 sudden deaths of my patients. I was in the middle of clinical rotations, and the patients dropped dead when I touched them. Yeah, you heard me right. I touched the patients I was supposed to look after and they dropped dead. To be precise, 3 patients died just minutes after I touched them in 3 consecutive days. The first patient was Mr. Jack T. Simmons, who was visiting the outpatient clinic complaining of a sore throat. He had a massive heart attack as soon as I touched his hand to take his pulse. The next day, I was running a preliminary physical exam on Mr. Patrick Barnes, who had a minor stomachache. When I tried to listen to his heart using the stethoscope, I touched his chest. He had a massive brain hemorrhage and died on the spot. Neither of them had a pre-existing condition that could have caused them to die so suddenly. And on the third day, I was helping Mr. Caleb Schumacher, who was again visiting the outpatient clinic because of a twisted ankle. I touched his foot for examination, and he broke out into hives. He then started wheezing and clutching his chest. Before I had time to say emergency, he was a dead man. The cause of his death was anaphylactic shock, a massive allergic reaction, but what caused it was never identified. People die for many reasons, but having 3 patients with no pre-existing life-threatening conditions dropping dead while they were under my care in 3 consecutive days didn't spotlight my performance in a good way. Actually, everyone cast me suspicious looks. As a result, I was detained by the Chapel Hill Police Department as a serial murder suspect. The police had conducted a thorough investigation of me. They went so far as to analyze all the garments I wore at the time of the incidents. I'm not a slob, so I had washed and dried the clothes I had on during the first episodes, and the police accused me of tampering with evidence. I told them I never skipped laundry because I couldn't stand the idea of having my dirty clothes staying dirty overnight, facilitating the growth and proliferation of potentially harmful microorganisms.
Yeah, you can't stand having dirty clothes around
You can't stand having dirty men around you, can you?
What do you mean?
Guess what? In the past, all 3 of the men were arrested for killing and or raping little girls. However, they were released because of holes in the case, such as an accidental destruction of DNA in the lab. They walked as free men. You couldn't tolerate seeing them go unpunished, and that's why you killed them. Right?
I didn't kill them! The conversation between the detectives and yours truly didn't go very smoothly. There was no physical evidence to charge me for 3 first-degree murders, mostly because I killed no one. However, the lack of physical evidence made it even more difficult to prove my innocence. When the investigation hit a dead end, this gorgeous guy appeared in the uncomfortable interrogation room of the Chapel Hill Police Department. Without even introducing himself, he started asking me questions. To my surprise, the detectives didn't object to having a total stranger interrogating me. After a couple of hours, he said something that sounded almost like a sick joke.
First of all, she didn't kill those men, at least not intentionally. It's just she happens to be something like, say, the Grim Reaper. That's why those criminals dropped dead the moment she touched them.
I expected the detectives to get really annoyed by his stupid remark, or crack up laughing like jerks, but they didn't. Soon, the chief of the Chapel Hill Police Department himself came into the room where I was being held. Apologizing profusely, he released me, admitting it was atrociously wrong to detain me. The detectives and police officers avoided having any physical contact with me, as if they believed the handsome man's silly words. He was already gone when I was released. I wished I could say thank you to him. I went back to the normalcy of my life. Or, at least, I thought so. At that time, I was going to return to school and continue my education, but they didn't welcome me back with open arms. They were all about this stupid rumor that I was the Grim Reaper, or the Angel of Death, and also started avoiding physical contact with me at all costs. When my fiancé broke up with me, he communicated with me by text message. The board of directors ran a quick assessment of the pros and cons of keeping me registered as a student, and they came to a conclusion to dismiss me pronto. Obviously, they didn't think having someone nicknamed the Grim Reaper was a very good idea. It was like I had suddenly contracted some deadly and incurable infectious disease, such as Ebola. According to the social understandings, medical professionals are supposed to be super logical and scientific. However, people in this community also happen to be big on superstition. Maybe dealing with life and death had that effect on them. Oh, did I mention rumors spread faster than the speed of light in the medical community? I wasn't a rocket scientist, but putting 2 and 2 together was an easy task. I knew it was him. Though the chief of police never admitted it, I knew it was the guy who butted into my interrogation who spread the word that I was the Grim Reaper. Man, it feels like my life is just one thing after another. I guess that's the price of being successful. I'm kidding, haha. Now that we all know how rolling is the cause of my misfortunes, it's kinda hard to be in a pickle. Yup, it's definitely a hitch in my giddy-up. On one hand, I hate him and feel like he gets pleasure from making my life harder than it should be. On the other hand, I need this new opportunity to help me stay afloat. Navigating difficult decisions without sacrificing your values can be an emotional roller coaster. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm finally having a meeting with Hernandez, the head of the FBI's NYC office. Here's to hoping he's a friendly guy so we can drown our sorrows from having experienced rolling in our lives. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.